This program is brought to you by Paul Davis Restoration, making a difference in people's lives after water, fire, or storm damage. It's what we do every day.
We have tornado watches in effect throughout Northwestern Ontario, as well as severe thunderstorm watches as well. These are in place by Environment Canada for winds gusting upwards to 130 kilometers per hour, ping pong size hail, and these storms are going to move through later in towards the afternoon into the evening. So here's a look at our thunderstorm forecast as we head throughout Monday. We are looking at a squall line that'll be moving through, creating these dangerous conditions, and we do have a threat to see 1 or 2 tornadoes as well, especially in those areas highlighted in red. But I would take a look at our energy, lots of energy to fuel these storms as they move across the international border, and we are looking at this risk continuing throughout Northwestern Ontario as we head into our Tuesday afternoon as well. But in terms of the timing for these storms, we are starting to see some storms initiate as we continue in through the later portions of the day, but they will move through later into the evening hours. Winds are going to be quite gusty as the center of this low moves through. That's more of a Tuesday story, especially across Manitoba and Northwestern Ontario. Those winds gusting 60 to possibly 80 kilometers per hour. The rain is going to continue as well, but we are going to be looking at 40 to 60 millimeters of rainfall right along the Manitoba Northwestern Ontario border. But I did mention a bit of that risk across sections of the east as well. Kapuskasing, Timmins, a risk for some severe storms as we head in through our Monday. These storms are going to be more embedded in nature, but temperatures are quite nice, especially those humidity values into the high 30s across major portions of Ontario, and that's going to help to fuel the potential for some storms as we head later into Tuesday, overnight into our Wednesday across southern sections of the province. Atlantic Canada, we are looking at a trough that's hanging by as well. We would be looking at some of this rainfall continuing as we head in through Thursday. We could be looking at some heavier amounts across the north, roughly 20 to possibly 50 millimeters of rainfall is expected, and some rainfall across BC as well. We have tornado watches in effect for Fort Frances and the area surrounding the region, as well as severe thunderstorm watches in place. We do have potential to see squall lines moving through the region as we head in later portions of our Monday. We are looking at the risk for some damaging and strong winds gusting upwards to 130 kilometers per hour, the risk for tornadoes as well. That's why we have that red indicating those areas that could be looking at the risk for those stronger storms, as well as heavy rainfall. That's going to continue as we head throughout our Wednesday, but lots of dynamics to set up the tornadoes as we continue well into our Monday evening. Here's a look at our timing. So you're looking at some rainfall across sections of Manitoba, and then we see that squall line start to make its way through. That's going to be more potent as we head later throughout the evening, continuing into our overnight. And as that center of that low moves in, strong winds gusting upwards to 80 kilometers per hour.
Thanks for joining us. We are watching a line of dangerous storms moving from Minnesota into Northwestern Ontario. I'm Kim MacDonald. Glad to have you along. There are tornado watches already in place on this side of the border. I'm going to bring in Melinda Singh as well, and we're going to talk about these storms, follow these storms as they move onto the Canadian side of the border over the next little while, and hopefully give you the warning that you need to have. This is the time to really be prepared for severe weather. Stateside, they've already had tornado watches and warnings. This was the sky in Minnesota where these storms have been ramped up. This is a squall line, so you can see it clearly on the radar. Lots of lightning with these storms, and we're really concerned about the gusty winds. We've got tornado watches for Fort Frances, Emo, Rainy River, Seine River Village, Mine Center. So there are a lot of areas right now in the tornado watch. Melinda, of course, a watch really means heads up. A warning means that these storms are happening or are imminent. So right now is the time to just really get ready.
Exactly, Kim. I'm going to show you a look at our radar right now. So we are tracking these storms moving right across the border. They are slowly itching its way into Fort Frances. We are starting to see some rainfall move throughout the area as indicated on the radar. These are all lightning strikes, looking at the heavy lightning potential with these storms as well. This is that squall line that Kim mentioned here. So we are going to continue to see this move through Northwestern Ontario. We could be targeting sections of southeastern Manitoba as well, just on the border as we continue later in. But I am going to show you a look at our satellite as well. This is going to indicate that squall line that we are continuing to see move through the region. Just another look, different ways we can look at different weather types. So those lightning strikes indicating that squall line that continues to move into the region. Here's a look at our thunderstorm forecast. So we did forecast potential for tornadoes, large hail, heavy rainfall, and strong winds associated with this squall line as it continues to move through, Kim.
Yeah, and a squall line is basically, we're talking about a series of thunderstorms that have kind of melded together to form this long line. And one of the biggest issues with this will be the wind. So we're talking about wind speeds 130 kilometers per hour potentially. And there may be tornadoes within the line of storms, and they're more likely to be rain wrapped, which means that you can't see them. You don't have a real clear look at perhaps a funnel cloud coming out. That's what makes them extra dangerous. You don't see it, but you'll know that you're dealing with severe weather, heavy downpours, those powerful winds as well. As I mentioned, 130 kilometers per hour. We've got rainfall warnings in a place that has already had a lot of rain. So Northwestern Ontario, the ground is saturated. Now we're talking about another additional 20 to 40 millimeters of rain. That's going to continue through Tuesday, and that's when you get potential for localized flooding in a place that doesn't need any more rain, Melinda. So we've been watching this storm for a while, and the thing too with a squall line is it can last for hours, and it can travel for hundreds of kilometers.
And it can also bring destructive winds as well. Kim, I'm going to highlight the rainfall outlook that we have across Manitoba and Northwestern Ontario. As you mentioned, 40 to 60 millimeters of rainfall in areas that have already seen very heavy rainfall. Many farmers are looking forward to planting, but the grounds are just too saturated. And as you know, with thunderstorms, we can continue to see higher amounts of rainfall as well. With this low pressure system that continues to move through as it moves across the international border later into our Tuesday, we are going to be seeing stronger winds, especially across Manitoba. Those winds are going to be gusting upwards to 80 kilometers per hour, and we will continue to see some lighter rainfall. The storms will be more so diminished in terms of active weather, but I am going to highlight once again the risk that we have for our Monday evening. As Kim mentioned, a squall line, so large hail, heavy rainfall, strong winds. Those winds can be gusting upwards to over 100 kilometers per hour, and the risk for tornadoes as well, Kim.
Right now, we don't have any tornado warnings on this side of the border. Actually, I believe they've dropped them stateside as well, which is good news. But a tornado warning, when do we get that? Well, somebody has to have seen a tornado on the ground. That's one way. We get a weather spotter who has.
Program is brought to you by Paul Davis Restoration, making a difference in people's lives after water, fire, or storm damage. It's what we do every day.
Line particularly dangerous as well, and we could see winds 130 kilometers per hour. If you're just joining us or coming back to us on television, thank you. We are live streaming as well on our website, theweathernetwork.com, and on our app, Facebook too. So you can watch this in any of those places. And the reason we are live streaming is because we have a dangerous situation, the potential for tornadoes, thanks to a squall line that has moved from Minnesota towards the international border. And on this side of the border, places like Fort Frances, Emo, Rainy River, all currently under a tornado watch, meaning that conditions are favorable for a tornado to form. And we've already had a couple this year. 4 of them have been in Ontario, and it's still early days. This is the very beginning of the active weather or the severe weather season. Of course, summer is just around the corner, and we have our summer forecast. That will be released tomorrow, so on Tuesday. But on average, Ontario gets about 12.4 tornadoes a year. and already we have seen 4. We've already had a tornado confirmed in Saskatchewan as well this year, but they get over 17 normally. So this storm moving from the States. Here's a tornado safety just in case we do have a warning come up, and we will let you know. Melinda's with me as well, and we'll talk about where you should be. Take shelter in a basement. If you don't have a basement, get into the lowest level possible, away from windows. I know, Melinda, that people get sometimes excited about storms. They want to grab their phones and take photos and videos. If you are under tornado warning, I suggest you get into an interior room. If you don't have a basement, don't go to those windows.
Exactly, Kim. We kind of saw that last Saturday as well with the derecho that moved through. Everyone was kind of caught off guard as well. But when these warnings are issued by Environment Canada, it's best to heed them and head indoors and take shelter.
Yeah, and you may get one of the alerts on your phone if there is a tornado that's a little more urgent, right? We start hearing the sound coming up, and that's the time to get somewhere safe. You know, we say if you don't have a basement, get into an interior room. Like a bathroom is good, a bathtub even better. Not a bad place to be. If you're in an apartment building, you want to get down to the bottom. You don't want to be up in those higher floors. So all of these things, it's a good reminder, even if you're watching this and you're not in the tornado watch, for later in the summer, it may be you. So these are things that you need to pay attention to.
Exactly, Kim. I'm going to take you through Tuesday's risk. We do have a bit of some activity across northern sections of Ontario as well. The tornado threat will diminish into Tuesday, but still looking at the threat to see some severe storms, especially throughout Geraldton, Kapuskasing, Timmins, down and through Sault Ste. Marie. But we are looking at them being more scattered in nature, heavy rainfall, some large hail and strong winds as well. And this is all along the system that's moving through. So throughout Monday evening, that's going to be that squall line moving through with this system, and then in through sections of northern Ontario. Tuesday, we'll be looking at those storms initiating right along that cold front, Kim.
Yeah, we have strong winds in the upper atmosphere and at the surface as well, and that is also what contributes to this squall line. And I just want to give a quick refresher, the difference between a watch and a warning. Currently in Northwestern Ontario, a watch is in place. So it means that conditions are favorable for a tornado to develop. It has not, but it needs to pay attention and to have a plan. A tornado warning means that a tornado has been reported either by someone seeing one, or you can tell by the radar. Environment and Climate Change Canada is responsible for issuing all watches and warnings. We do not issue them here at the Weather Network. We are here to communicate when a watch or a warning is issued by our government body. So just keep that in mind. I know some people tend to see warnings on different websites and things. Just make sure that you know where you're getting your information from. But a watch, heads up, a warning, heads down.
Kim MacDonald's hair design provided by Pure Envy Salon and Spa. For our blind and low vision viewers, the Weather Network offers regional audio description weather reports during our local forecast on the 10s.
Where we anticipated the severe weather to be. We see some of that sneaking into Manitoba. Right now it looks like Manitoba will potentially have some very strong winds.
Exactly. So as this low pressure continues to move through, the winds are going to start to ramp up. But within that squall line, of course, the winds are going to be gusting upwards to 130 kilometers per hour. But the winds are going to continue to be more gusty into our Tuesday, especially across Manitoba. So those winds gusting 60 to possibly 80 kilometers per hour, and with the risk for some continued rainfall as well. We do have a bit of snow across northern sections of the province as well. Churchill will be looking at more cooler conditions behind the system as it makes its way out, Kim.
What a difference in temperature. And usually when you have that kind of difference, that's when you get severe weather, with then cold clashing with warm weather. And this is a reminder too, like I know in places in Northwestern Ontario, people love to get out on the water. They love to go camping. They love to go fishing. I hope you have your weather app. That's important. As long as you've got a signal, our Weather Network app is really great for letting you know when watches and warnings are issued and for when the rain is going to start and what you need to be prepared for. They'll give you an alert alert. Even if there's not a warning yet, they might say, okay, well, there's potential for severe weather moving in at this point in time. So yes, make sure you have that Weather Network app on your phone. It's really great, especially when you're not at home and you're out and about. There's our watches and warnings right now in brown. That's our tornado watch. That's what we're most concerned about. No warnings just yet, but Fort Frances, Emo, Rainy River, Seine River Village, Mine Center, Ignis, English River, all in a tornado watch. Watch for those winds, possibly up to 130 kilometers per hour, dime to ping pong sized hail, and heavy rain, Melinda, in a place that doesn't need any more heavy rain.
Unfortunately, that is the situation across Manitoba and Northwestern Ontario, Kim. But let's take a look at the precipitation forecast. So areas across Winnipeg and Sandy Bay, Gimli are continuing to see rainfall as they saw throughout the day Monday. There's that squall line. This is a model that is forecasting what we could be looking at in terms of the severity and how much rainfall we could be looking at. So this is the rain rate, in fact. So we are going to continue to see this move across the border later on throughout the day. We will start to see the tornado threat diminish as we head in through the overnight hours, but still heavy rainfall is expected. We're looking at 40 to possibly 60 millimeters of rainfall in some sections of the provinces. And there we have that low pressure system continuing to bring in that rainfall. That rainfall is going to start to diminish later into Thursday, a bit of relief and more drier conditions on the way, Kim.
And you can see the spin in that too. So low pressure systems always rotate in a counterclockwise manner, and you can certainly see that in your last graphic. And here's that rain, that heavy rainfall that's anticipated, which is going to be problematic. It's like if we could only give the rain to the places that need it, places like southern Alberta and not so much Manitoba and Northwestern Ontario. Okay, we often talk about Cape, and we'll certainly be talking about it all summer long as we get into active weather season. So now let's go to Jacqueline Whittle. Oh, never mind. We will bring that to you momentarily. But let's first talk about what a tornado watch is, because I know people get mixed up whether the watch is more severe or the warning. It's always the warning is more severe. The watch is giving you the heads up that there's potential for tornadoes to develop. It means the ingredients are there, but will they all come together to form a tornado? That is what brings us the warning. When somebody actually sees a tornado on the ground, like a trained weather spotter, sometimes it's a police officer, fire, those kinds of people will alert Environment and Climate Change Canada, let them know that they have seen a tornado on the ground. Sometimes it's video evidence of a tornado on the ground, and a lot of times it's just based on radar, because sometimes these are touching down in very remote areas and you may not see it, but the radar is picking it up. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about what kind of signature on a radar, Melinda, are you looking for when it comes to tornadoes?
Yeah, so we usually look at the velocity in terms of the direction that the winds are moving at. So if we're looking at the winds, kind of moving in different directions, that's kind of an indicator, especially in one central area, that the system is rotating.
So we have a severe thunderstorm warning, yes. And warnings are much the same as tornado warning. Severe thunderstorm warning means that the storm is happening or is imminent. So Fort Frances, Emo, they've all come together. It's also called an MCS. And welcome to our TV audience again as well. I know we come in and out, and it sounds like I'm halfway through a sentence when you've turned on the TV or you were sitting there coming out of a commercial. It's because we're live streaming as well on our website and on our social media as well, our app too. So thanks for joining me here. So we're talking about the severe thunderstorms moving into northern Ontario. We do have a tornado watch in place. This is a squall line, so it is a complex of storms triggered by linear features, so meaning it's stretched out like a line. There is a lot of lightning on this line. The winds are very powerful, and the winds are strong in the upper level and at the surface, and they're aligned, so they're all moving in the same direction. And we could have heavy rain with these squall lines, large hail. We're talking about the potential from dime-sized to ping-pong-sized hail, and wind gusts. And we've already seen some wind gusts to about 110 kilometers per hour with these storms. Severe thunderstorm warnings are in place, and yes, Yes, as you mentioned, a severe thunderstorm watch is now in place for the city of Thunder Bay, which would be the biggest city now in any kind of a watch or warning. And again, the watch meaning that there's potential for severe thunderstorms to develop.
Yes, Kim, you've got that right. So Environment Canada did issue that severe thunderstorm watch just shortly. But we are going to take a look at the radar once again here. So continuing to see the squall line move right across the international border. As I mentioned earlier, starting to see more of that heavier rainfall, the potential for some hail as well, and lots of lightning, and that's going to continue to move through as the system starts to move right across the international border from Minnesota in through sections of Northwestern Ontario. Sections of southern Manitoba as well. They're looking at some rainfall that's continuing throughout the day today, and that's going to continue well into our Wednesday as well. Some areas looking at 40 to 60 millimeters of rainfall. But I did mention that lightning, lots of lightning potential with those systems. And here's a model run that's going to show you the potential to see heavy amounts of lightning with this squall line as it continues to move through Minnesota and through sections of Northwestern Ontario. The threat will diminish later into the early morning hours as well, and the potential for rotating storms, and that's what produces tornadoes. So we are looking at that risk once again throughout our Monday evening, Kim.
You know, this is a good time to educate people on severe weather, since we are really at the initial stages of severe weather season, summer season, and one of the words we'll be using often is the word CAPE when we talk about thunderstorms and energy in the atmosphere. So here with more details on that is meteorologist Jacqueline Whittle.
It's thunderstorm season in Canada, and we are going to see lots of it this summer. But we need a certain ingredient to get a thunderstorm to occur, and it's known as CAPE. I'm not talking about something a superhero wears. CAPE stands for Convective Available Potential Energy. Basically, how strong the updraft is in a thunderstorm, because it's all about a parcel of air that's rising into cooler air aloft. And if we get that to happen, then we can get condensation to occur, we get convection to occur, we get a cloud, we get a cumulus cloud that might grow into a thunderstorm cloud. Now we can use weather modeling to show us where the strongest CAPE will be, but here's how it happens in the field. So basically that warm air is being channeled up into the lower part of the atmosphere, it condenses, it forms a cloud base, and it can rise into a big thunderstorm cloud. But we also have something called negative CAPE, or SIN. Convective inhibition. When you see this, you'll typically see more fair weather-like clouds, and you'll actually see a rising parcel want to sink back down to the surface rather than continuing to grow into a major thunderstorm.
Okay, thank you, Jacqueline, for that. This is our tornado watch that we have ongoing in Northwestern Ontario. A heads up that we have favorable conditions for potential tornadoes wrapped within a squall line. Fort Frances, Emo, Rainy River, Seine River Village, Mine Centre, Ignis, and English River, all currently under a tornado watch. We see those tornado watches stateside as well. We are concerned that we may have a tornado form within this squall line that we've been looking at. So far, all is well. No tornado warnings in place, but this is still a dangerous situation, Melinda, and we do have severe thunderstorm warnings in place, which are bringing all the usual ingredients.
Yes, Kim. In fact, this just in, we are looking at a tornado warning in Minnesota, and that is going to be moving.
This program is brought to you by Share Lawyers.
To northern sections of the province.
We've got some video here coming out of Minnesota. This is the latest out of, I don't know how to say this, Florida, I guess, coming from CNN. And we can see lots of storm damage there. If you are just joining us on television, or you've been sitting around and watching local forecasts, etc., we're coming in and out because we are live streaming, so it may seem like I'm mid-word or mid-sentence and what is happening. So we are live streaming because we do have a tornado watch right now in Northwestern Ontario. That's what we've been covering live for, let's see, 45 minutes or so. Tornado warnings are stateside, and they are awfully close to the Ontario border. If you manage to, or if you are in a tornado warning, these are the things you need to do. You need to get into the lowest room in your home. If you have a basement, get there. If you don't have a basement, get into an interior room like a bathroom, something with minimal windows A closet, not a bad place. A bathtub, not a bad place. If you're really that concerned, sometimes people get a mattress and pull it over, or sleeping bags, that kind of thing, because the thing with a tornado is that you're most concerned about things flying around, breaking glass, and being hit by something. So this is a squall line. It is a line of storms. It has very strong winds. It has heavy rainfall and large hail, and of course the potential for rotation. So let's get to your tornado safety now in more detail with Jacqueline Whittle.
So where is the safest place to go if a tornado happens? Well, you want to be below ground, so either a storm shelter, or if you don't have a storm shelter, go to your basement. The reason why, not a lot of windows, you've got concrete around you, and even if the whole home is wiped off its foundation, you're still safe. If you don't have a basement, go to the most center part of your home, typically a bathroom, away from windows. And the reason why a bathroom is a good idea is because it usually has strong framing in that part of the home, the center part of the home, plus the pipes in the walls can actually hold that framing together. So you actually want to get inside your bathtub if you can, or a closet, anywhere in the center part of the home away from those windows.
Here's some other worst options. First of all, mobile homes. We know what happens there. Vehicles, don't be in a car. Under a highway overpass, a lot of people pull over because of the heavy rain. They can't see. They think that's a good place to be. It is actually very dangerous. Large open rooms, not a great option. Malls, theaters, gyms, anything that's wide open. But good options, again, an interior room, a well-constructed home or building, and of course, a basement being the #1 best place to be. And right now we're talking about this, Melinda, because there is potential with this storm. Certainly we're now seeing the tornado warnings in the U.S. just south of the Ontario border, and we've seen video now of damage done.
Yeah, it's quite sad to see a bit of that destruction that's just moving through with the squall line. But the good news is it looks like a bit of the squall line is weakening slightly, because a lot of the tornado watches across the states has now been downgraded to a severe thunderstorm warning, and areas just closer to Lake Superior as well are starting to get into a severe thunderstorm watch. But we do have a region across Northwestern Ontario that is currently still in a tornado watch, so conditions are still favorable as they move right across the international border for severe storms and the potential for tornadoes to occur. So here is another look at the current radar moving through. Here's that squall line. Actually right behind this, in this area here, is a cold front that's moving through. So the squall line is developing. It continues to develop in front of that cold front, and behind it as well we are looking at some more systems developing down and through the upper Midwest as well. So the squall line is continuing to move just northward into Northwestern Ontario. A bit of that is moving just in through sections of Manitoba as well, right along the
Melinda.
Yes, Kim, adjusting that issue on my computer as well, but I am going to continue to mention the threat for potential to see tornadoes, because we do have that tornado watch still in effect. And once we do, Environment Canada issues a tornado warning, please heed the warning and head indoors and go to somewhere that you can remain safe. Well, I am going to talk a bit about the dynamics within the atmosphere. So we have lots of CAPE, which is potential energy associated with thunderstorms. This helps to fuel the thunderstorms. A lot of it is daytime heating, especially we'll start to see that across southern Ontario for us Wednesday, but we are looking at a lot of this instability moving in from the state side. And we do have the potential to see lightning, especially with this potent squall line that continues to move through. It brought a bit of destruction across sections of Minnesota early on in today, and this will continue to move through later towards evening. It will start to diminish later towards the overnight hours, but we still do have the potential to see rotating storms, those yellows and blue indicating that we have the perfect ingredients to see rotation, and that is possible. That's why those areas are in the tornado watch, Kim.
So Melinda, I just wanted to mention that anytime we are going to have tornado watches or warnings, we're likely going to be doing a live stream, depending on, how many people are impacted. So we always love our television audience, and we are going to continue to watch these storms after the live stream comes to an end. So you can always tune into the Weather Network on television to get the latest updates on what's going on in Northwestern Ontario with this. So tornado watch right now. Just getting the latest from Michael. Okay, so severe thunderstorm warning. So that's what I was mentioning. 110 km/h wind gusts and nickel-sized hail. A tornado is also possible, is what Environment Canada and Environment and Climate Change Canada is now saying with this severe thunderstorm warning. So it includes Atikokan, Quetico Park, Shabandawan, and they're saying 110 km wind gusts and nickel-sized hail, but a tornado is possible. Problem is hard to see in this squall line. Lots of lightning on this, lots of rain associated with this as well. Severe thunderstorm warning. When you're looking at this map, it's the whole area in red. And here's a look at the radar as well. Melinda, you'll get into the details of what people are looking at here.
Yes, Kim, let's take a quick look at this radar 1 scan. So we are seeing a squall line moving through Minnesota, and it continues to move right across the international border. It is bowing out a bit, a bowing line segment. So within those areas that bow out, we see stronger and more damaging winds gusting over 100 to possibly 130 kilometers, even exceeding that in some areas. That could also have been the cause for some of the damage that was seen in Minnesota, as well as the potential for tornadoes as well. Tornado watch is still in effect across Northwestern Ontario. We do have severe thunderstorm watches and warnings that are continuing to be issued by Environment Canada. And this continues as we head in through the later portions of the evening as well. Here's a look at those watches and warnings that are in place by Environment Canada, Kim.
Okay, I wanted to thank our audience for joining us in the live stream on our app, on Facebook, wherever you're watching us. Twitter. We're trying to get the word out on as many platforms as possible, and we hope to do this throughout the summer with the severe weather. Thank you to Melinda Singh for helping track these storms along as well. We will continue on television, so the Weather Network on TV, to track these storms. Very dangerous potential with these storms as they make their way from Minnesota into Northwestern Ontario. We have a variety of watches and warnings. Make sure you pay close attention where you live if there is a watch or warning in your area. Thanks for joining us on the live stream. Active weather coverage continues here on the Weather Network as a line of storms moves from from the U.S. into Northwestern Ontario. Lots of watches and warnings, including a severe thunderstorm warning just hugging the border. But stateside, although it's not here yet, there is a tornado warning, and it is on your doorstep. So we are anticipating that we may see tornado warnings on this side of the border as well. Even if you're in the severe thunderstorm warning, it means potentially we could get some tornadoes developing. There is a tornado watch in place as well for a large area, including Fort Frances, Emo, Rainy River, Singh River Village, Mine Center, Ignis, all under that tornado watch. And those areas in the severe thunderstorm warning may see things like this. So stateside in Minnesota, they've had this squall line move through. There has been some very strong winds. We're expecting winds to 130 kilometers per hour, potentially some large hail as well, dime-sized to ping-pong-sized hail, heavy rainfall too. Here's another look at some of the destruction that has happened in Minnesota, likely because of those winds. But yes, there's a real threat of tornadoes within this squall line. I have Melinda Singh joining me now. You've been paying close attention to that radar, lots of lightning on it, and that storm is just keeps on trucking. Oh, we have now a tornado warning. So tornado warning has just been issued as we had suspected. Oh, and it popped up too right here. In Singh River Village, Mine Center are now currently under that tornado warning. I'm trying to see if Environment Climate Change Canada has any more details on this one. They do not. Severe thunderstorm warning for Fort Frances, Emo, and Rainy River, and now Singh River Village. These are the areas in pink, and Mine Centre are currently under a tornado warning. If you are in this warned area, you want to get to safety as soon as possible. You don't want to be near any windows. An interior room is best, a bathroom, a closet, a basement if you have it. That is the safest, and you certainly don't want to be anywhere near a window. Don't go outdoors. There's a lot of lightning on these storms, and of course, Melinda, with this wind, it's potentially extremely dangerous.
Yes, Kim, that tornado warning was also issued just down south of the international border as well, but these storms continue to move northward, and we are looking at the bit of a radar here. So these storms continue to move right in through Northwestern Ontario, impacting those regions that you just mentioned that are in that tornado warning, and they are bringing in heavy amounts of rainfall, strong winds gusting upwards to 130 kilometers per hour in some areas, copious amounts of lightning as well, and the potential to see hail.
So Singh River Village, Mine Centre, those are the areas currently under a tornado warning. A tornado warning means that it has been spotted on radar or visually witnessed. We have already had tornado warnings stateside. We expected that this storm would cross the border, bring similar conditions to Northwestern Ontario. We can see that happening with the radar, and that's why areas now on this side of the border are currently under a tornado warning. If you're under the tornado watch, it means the potential is there for a tornado to spawn, but right now the areas under the warning, again, seek shelter, Singh River Village, Mine Centre, and we also have severe thunderstorm warning. So there's a lot going on right along that international border, Melinda.
Yeah, but looks like as of 9:03 p.m. as well, a tornado warning for Atikokan has also been issued as well. But no details on that from Environment Canada as well. So we are continuing to track these storms here at the Weather Network. Here's a look at our thunderstorm forecast. So the squall line, this very potent squall line, continues to move north across the international border, bringing with it large hail, heavy rainfall, strong winds, and the potential to see a tornado or two. So areas highlighted in red and orange are looking at the more severe storms. Areas in yellow are looking more at non-severe thunderstorms, but still looking at heavy rainfall and the potential for hail as well. Lots of dynamics in play. We have lots of available energy that helps to fuel these storms, and that's going to continue in through our overnight hours as well. I am going to quickly show you the lightning potential with this. Always with squall lines, lots of lightning as well as damaging winds like we saw in Minnesota as well, Kim.
And Lac-La-Croix has the greatest risk right now. That's where the greatest concern is for that particular tornado warning. Again, if you're under a warning, make sure that you take cover now. We will be back shortly and continue our coverage on the storms in Ontario. So we have tornado warnings now in place in Northwestern Ontario.
This program is
we
brought
have
to
the
you
watch
by
that's been in
Share
place
Lawyers.
for a long time now. That's more of our heads up. Hi, I'm Kim MacDonald, by the way. Our tornado warning includes Singh River Village, Mine Centre, Atikokan, Shibandawan, and Quetico Park. All of these areas currently under a tornado warning. If you find yourself in a tornado warning, you want to get indoors, you want to get in a safe spot. That is the lowest room in your home, the lowest level. Maybe you don't have a basement, that's okay. Get into an interior room, something away from windows. That's the big concern, obviously, is a broken window and flying glass. So here is the tornado warning in the pink area. In the brown, that's a tornado watch. So that means that there's potential for a tornado to develop. We've already seen that now come to fruition. Tornado warning stateside, then crossed over onto this side of the border. There's a look at it. So again, stay away from windows and glass doors. Go to a basement or the lowest point in your building. You can cover yourself with a mattress or sleeping bag if you have one handy. That it always makes it that much safer. So again, Atikokan, Shibandawan, Quetico Park, Singh River Village, and Mine Centre. Now I'm going to bring in our meteorologist, Melinda Singh, who has been watching these storms for a while now, watching them as they moved from Minnesota and now into Northwestern Ontario.
Yes, Kim. So I did take off the lightning because there's just so much copious of lightning with the squall line, but we are going to be looking at the a bit of rotation with this. We can't indicate this on this certain type of radar, but we are looking at those reds, a bit of pinks in there as well. That's indicating heavy amounts of rainfall. Could be looking at the potential for heavy hail as well, small and large hail. In Environment Canada's warning, I believe they are talking about radar is indicated on rotation, which I can see on my separate computer here, but unfortunately not on this map. But hazards are from Environment Canada: tornado, 100km/h wind gusts, and nickel-sized hail, Kim.
Okay, so all a problem. Now let's talk about this squall line. I'm going to get into the details of what a squall line actually is. Here is the science behind it. So we can see that a squall line can produce all kinds of things, right? These powerful winds, the large hail, and the potential for tornadoes. So once more, our tornado warning: Singh River Valley Mine Center, Atikokan, Quetico Park, and Shabandawon. If you are in a tornado warning, get to safety immediately. We're covering active weather in Northwestern Ontario, where we have tornado warnings in place. A line of storms called a squall line is moving from Minnesota into Northwestern Ontario. The areas in pink, that's what we're looking at. These are the areas of concern within the tornado warning right now: Singh River Village, Mine Center, Atikokan, Quetico Park, and Shabandawon, all under that tornado warning. In the brownish color, that's the watch. In the red, that's severe thunderstorm warning. So if you're in the severe thunderstorm warning too, you're going to want to take cover. Okay, I'm going to bring in Melinda Singh. We're going to talk about this a little bit. We've got active weather along a squall line and the potential for rotation.
Exactly, Kim. We've been tracking this squall line moving through many hours throughout the day today. Here's a look at what it's currently doing, moving through Minnesota right in front of a cold front behind it. We are also seeing some severe storms as well, but this is going to continue to move right in through Northwestern Ontario as it has been throughout the past half an hour or so. We are starting to see copious amounts of lightning as well as heavy rainfall. I'm going to just turn off the lightning that's in the white areas, but here's a look at it without lightning, so you can just see how heavy that rainfall is, especially those winds. Can't see it on radar, but people are indicating that the winds are gusting upwards to over 100km/h in some sections, and especially when squall lines like to bow out in regions, that means those winds are even more stronger, could be gusting upwards to 130km/h in some sections. But let's take a look at the mid levels. That's where we're seeing those winds drive the squall line in through sections of Northwestern Ontario, so moving through the upper Midwest states and then continuing well in through Northwestern Ontario for us throughout the overnight hours, Kim. But here's a look at the risk as we continue to watch the potential for tornadoes to move through Northwestern Ontario.
And here again is the actual tornado warning, the area in pink. Again, take shelter immediately. Here is what to do in a tornado warning with Tyler Hamilton.
Well, Canada, every single year we see dozens of tornadoes in this country. We might not be Tornado Alley, but they can occur from British Columbia all the way to Atlantic Canada, with most of them in the prairies and Ontario. But what happens? Let's walk you through a hypothetical tornadic situation. Environment Canada will normally issue a tornado watch with the potential for severe thunderstorms with at least one or more tornadoes to develop. Now, a tornado warning is different. I'm sure you've heard this sound before. That's a cue action is required. A tornado warning is when a tornado has been reported or visually seen by a certified storm spotter. So these are red flags to take action. So I picked a hypothetical warning area by Environment Canada and looked at past tracks from 1980 to 2009. Although a whole polygon, a whole warning region gets issued a tornado warning, damage is very, very rare and confined to generally under 500 meters in diameter. So it's why you wear a seatbelt every time you get in a car. You use the precautionary principle, because these F4 and F3 tornadoes from 1985, for example, are deadly and can have severe consequences. So if you have a basement, go to that region. But I'm using a simulation here in a household that does not have a basement. Get away from windows and walls, exterior walls. Go to an interior room like a closet or bathroom. Throw anything over yourself like a mattress and take cover. That's the safest place to be when a tornado is imminent.
So we've been throwing out a lot of terms. Squall line is one of them, and the concern is that tornadoes are developing within the squall line. It's a cluster of storms. We've been showing it to you on the radar, and it would look something like this, and it can produce heavy rain, frequent lightning. We've been seeing that, sometimes hail and tornadoes. And in this case, yes, we have seen at least tornado warnings. If you are in that tornado warned area, I'm going to show it to you one more time here. Seine River Village, Mine Centre, Atikokan, Quetico Park, and Shibandawon are all currently under a tornado warning. If that is you, get into an interior room as soon as possible. We'll continue to cover these storms here on the Weather Network. A squall line, or a cluster of thunderstorms, is moving across the U.S. border into northern Ontario. As a result, there are tornado warnings in place. Anywhere in pink on this map, that is the tornado warning. These are the watches. In red, severe thunderstorm warnings, and in yellow, severe thunderstorm watch. So we got a lot of colors on this map, but the one we have to pay most attention to right now is the tornado warning. Seine River Village, Mine Centre, Atikokan, Quetico Park, Shibandawon, all under a tornado warning right now. If that is you, if you have the alert on your screen, then you're going to want to take shelter. Get into an interior room. That's the best place to be. If you've got a basement, even better. I'm going to bring in Melinda Singh. This line of storms, the squall line, has a reputation of bringing some pretty powerful winds and a lot of lightning and rain too, Melinda.
Exactly, Kim, but I do also want to mention some locations that are also being impacted. So we have Sandpoint Lake, Lac La Croix, Beaver House Lake, Cirrus Lake, and Sturgeon Lake. And this is coming out from Environment Canada, and this is radar indicated rotation. So we are looking at this tornado warning continuing to impact the region. As Kim said, squall lines bring in heavy amounts of rainfall, especially those strong and damaging winds. Could also be looking at the potential for hail as well, and the risk for tornadoes. So if you are in this tornado warning, stay away from windows and glass doors and cover yourself with a mattress if you're not able to go into basement or the lowest points in a building. But I am going to also quick look at the radar. Once again, there's that squall line moving right through Minnesota, starting to impact sections of northwestern Ontario. It continues to move through all those whites there. That is lightning. Thousands of lightning strikes with this squall line that has moved through many hours already, continues to move through northwestern Ontario, bringing in more of a heavier rainfall. Could be looking at the potential for some localized flooding in areas that have already seen so much rainfall and flooding, Kim.
Well, I hope people who are camping or had the intention of camping maybe decided not to because of this severe weather that's moving through. Obviously extremely dangerous with these tornado warnings. And we're talking about rainfall warnings on top of all of this in an area that is already completely saturated. You've seen a lot of active weather already in northern Ontario and in Manitoba as well. And this is just adding to that. So more rain on the way. Now we're going to go to Kyle Britton talking about the growing season in the prairies and how the weather has impacted it.
For $2 plus tax.
You're watching Canada's Weather Network. To help you plan your activities in the coming days, here are the short and long-term forecasts for your area. To upload your photos and videos, visit upload.theweathernetwork.com.
This local forecast has been brought to you by the new Tim's Hershey S'mores Ice Cap, made with chocolate syrup, graham cracker crumble, and marshmallow whipped topping.
Cluster of storms moving into northern Ontario.
This
as a
program
result,
is
we have
brought to you
tornado
by
warnings in
Share
place.
Lawyers.
This cluster is called a squall line, so it's a lot of thunderstorms put together and then traveling together. A lot of lightning on these storms, some powerful winds that can cause potential for damage. Same thing for the heavy rain and the hail as well. So the area in pink, that is our tornado warning. If you are in the warned area, the Seine River Village, Mine Centre, Atikokan, Shibandawan, Quetico Park, these are the areas where you need to take shelter immediately. A tornado warning means that the warning has been seen on a radar or someone has actually seen it in real life, a trained weather spotter. This is the kind of damage this storm has done stateside. So the squall line moved from Minnesota into northwestern Ontario, and we're seeing video now of the kind of destruction that the winds brought stateside with this storm. So a lot going on with this. We're not expecting this to die down, and for the next couple of hours at least, Melinda, it's been roaring along here. The good news is it will weaken, but the bad news is it's still going to take a while.
Yeah, Kim. The dynamics are just so strong with the squall line as it continues to move across the border into northwestern Ontario. The pink is indicating the tornado warning, as Kim mentioned earlier, by looking at those oranges, those reds as well. That's indicating heavy amounts of rainfall, as well as the system starts to bow out. It's bringing in winds gusting over 100 kilometers per hour in some sections. Could be also looking at the potential for hail, and the radar is also indicating that there is rotation, so the possibility for a tornado is also there as well. And we are going to continue to see this throughout the coming hours as well. Current look at our thunderstorm risk as we head in through later portions of the evening. Areas in red and orange looking at the severe risk for storms, large hail, as I mentioned, heavy rainfall, the risk for tornadoes. That's why we have that tornado warning in effect by Environment Canada. Lots of CAPE, which is available thunderstorm energy, helping to fuel these thunderstorms as well. And we do have another model here just showing how much lightning that we could potentially see as the system moves right in along the international border in through sections of northwestern Ontario, Kim.
A watch right now, and a few communities are under that tornado watch. That's the time for planning. That's the time to get ready, because there's potential for a tornado to develop. But a warning means that it is happening or is imminent. Let's go now to Kelly Sonnenberg talking more about lightning.
Lightning. It's an atmospheric spectacle that is as dangerous as it is mesmerizing. Approximately 100 lightning bolts strike the Earth's surface every single second. They carry up to 1 billion volts of electricity, and one single strike can produce a temperature close to 30,000 degrees Celsius. So how exactly do these bolts of electricity form in the atmosphere? Thunderstorms develop on warm, humid summer days. Tiny ice and water particles within the thunderstorm rise and sink in updrafts and downdrafts, colliding with each other, creating a static electrical charge. Now these tiny particles, the lighter ones, the positively charged particles, rise to the top of the storm cloud, while the heavier negatively charged particles sink to the bottom. A buildup of positively charged particles become present on the Earth's surface. Now we know opposites attract, so the negative charges at the base of the cloud look for a way to get to the positive charges at the Earth's surface. These travel through what is known as a step leader. When a connection is made, the lightning channel is complete and the charges can flow freely from the cloud to the ground. This is known as the return stroke and is the bright flash of light we see.
This is a good reminder, too, that even if a thunderstorm is non-severe and it's producing lightning, that's just as dangerous. But these storms are producing a lot of lightning. And again, if you are under that tornado warning, get to a basement, get to an inner room like a closet or a bathroom. And we'll continue to cover these storms live here right on the Weather Network. night of severe weather in northwestern Ontario, including tornado warnings, all due to a squall line associated with this area of low pressure. It's going to continue to bring heavy rainfall to northern Ontario through to Tuesday as well. And this cold front keeps on tracking eastward. It's going to bring thunderstorms to the northeast on Tuesday and then on Wednesday to southern Ontario. So it's got a ways to go, but the most severe weather through the late night hours on Monday across northwestern Ontario. And then on Tuesday, it pushes east. So there's our risk map of who's going to see what. These will be more scattered thunderstorms versus the squall line we had seen on Monday night. Look at those temperatures across the south. Low 30s on Tuesday afternoon. By Thursday, temperatures drop to the high teens, even low 20s after the cold front moves through. Now, Hannah close-up. I spoke with a young man from Regina, Saskatchewan, who loves a good storm. He loves to take photos, especially if there's a shelf cloud and a yellow canola field. His name is Harry Himanshu, and here is his story as a photographer in Saskatchewan. A line of severe weather has crossed the international border from Minnesota into northwestern Ontario. Hi, I'm Kim MacDonald. We are covering these storms live here on the Weather Network because of tornado warnings that have been issued by Environment and Climate Change Canada. Anywhere in pink you see here, currently under a tornado warning, and that includes the Singh River Village, Mine Centre, Atikokan, Quetico Park, Shabandawon, and then smaller areas within this area are at risk. So again, we're urging you, if you are under that tornado warning, you want to stay away from windows and glass doors. Go to a basement. Go to the lowest part in your home. If you don't have a basement, whatever floor that is, and get away from windows. That's what we want you to do. Maybe it's in a closet or a bathroom. You can get into a tub, whatever's safest. Melinda Singh, you've been covering these storms for quite a while now, watching them on the radar. What stands out to you as the most important thing with these storms?
The most important thing would be the rotation. So that's when these storms are rotating, and that allows the risk for tornadoes to come in through permission and move through the region. We are starting to see that on radar as well, as indicated by Environment Canada also, and that's why they have issued the tornado warnings that are in place. But here's a look at the bigger picture. A current look at the satellite at lightning in yellow. The clouds are in white, and you can see this broadening low pressure system that's moving counterclockwise, and it continues to bring in heavy amounts of rainfall and lots of lightning, the risk for hail as well, and as we all know, the risk for tornadoes as well. So I am going to take a look at the thunderstorm forecast as we continue to track this squall line. As I mentioned, the factors are going to be large hail, heavy rainfall with those winds. Areas in red and orange looking at those severe storms. Areas in the yellow still looking at storms, but not as severe, as they will start to become lesser severe as we continue later throughout the overnight hours. But many areas across the prairies, especially Manitoba and northwestern Ontario, will continue to see rainfall as this low pressure system moves into the region. 40 to 60 millimeters of rainfall right along the international border. And here's a look at what's been happening in Minnesota with more of the damage.
Yeah, we had some really dark skies over Ottertail County. This is all part of the squall line that was moving northward towards the border. We could see it coming for miles and miles. So we knew that this was on our doorstep before it moved into northern Ontario. So tornado warning in place. What does that mean? Where should you be right now if you're under that warning? Here's Jacqueline Whittle with more. Tornado warnings are in place in northwestern Ontario right now. The most dangerous part of the storm is crossing over Highway 11. If you are in this tornado warning, including places like Atikokan, Singh River Village, Mine Centre, you're going to want to get into an interior room. If you've got a basement, that's the best place to be. Quetico Park also under this tornado warning, and so is Shabandawon. So all of these areas, it means that The conditions are very dangerous. There's potential for a tornado on the ground right now within a band of storms. So we have a squall line that's been moving from south to north, crossing the international border. This is a look back here, a little farther back. So there's Minnesota, here's Northwestern Ontario. The areas in red under a severe thunderstorm warning. In pink, that's our tornado warning, so just across the border. And again, this storm has had a lot of lightning on it. There has been some rotation stateside. We've seen damage with this storm, and there's a lot of rainfall too. So heavy rainfall associated with these storms. Lots to talk about, Melinda. This has been a long-lasting squall line, which is, you know, really part of what a squall line is.
Exactly, Kim. Let's take a look at the radar on that note. So we are looking at, this is a portion of the squall line. Let's zoom it out so you can just see how long this is. It stretches all the way in through southern Minnesota. We are continuing to see lots of heavy lightning and heavy rainfall with the squall line. I'm just going to start to play it here. So those reds, yellows, oranges indicating very heavy rainfall, winds gusting upwards to 110 kilometers per hour, nickel size to ping pong size hail in some localities, and of course the risk for tornadoes as indicated by Kim earlier. We are going to continue to track this as we move through the next couple of hours as well once those tornado warnings are in place. Here's another look at that. I am going to zoom it out because we are still looking at tornado watches across many areas of Minnesota in front of that system as well. Severe thunderstorm watches as well. So many warnings in place across Northwestern Ontario and across Minnesota with this storm. Still looking at lots of dynamics to play with this squall line. Squall lines they kind of last long because they're so complex and very driven with lots of dynamics, especially with lots of thunderstorm energy. These help to fuel the storms, and this will continue throughout the next few hours as these storms continue to track north of the border. This squall line in particular is moving 85 kilometers per hour in the northeast direction, Kim.
Okay, so fast winds with this, fast moving storm, tornado safety. That's what people need to know about if you're under a tornado warning. And here with details on what you should do is Jacqueline Whittle.
So where is the safest place to go if a tornado happens? Well, you want to be below ground, so either a storm shelter, or if you don't have a storm shelter, go to your basement. The reason why, not a lot of windows, you've got concrete around you, and even if the whole home is wiped off its foundation, you're still safe. If you don't have a basement, go to the most center part of your home, typically a bathroom, away from windows. And the reason why a bathroom is a good idea is because it has strong framing in that part of the home, the center part of the home, plus the pipes in the walls can actually hold that framing together. So you actually want to get inside your bathtub if you can, or a closet, anywhere in the center part of the home away from those windows.
And by the way, if you are in a car, for example, that's not the place you want to be. You want to get into a building as soon as possible. Mobile homes are not a good place to be, and never drive under a highway overpass and park your car there. That could be potentially problematic. So there are a lot of things you have to keep in mind. Get to safety as soon as possible. That's the number one thing you should take away from this. And again, we have tornado warnings in place in Northwestern Ontario. We'll be right back. Tornado warning has now expanded into Dryden and Vermilion Bay in Northwestern Ontario. Anywhere in pink is currently under a tornado warning. So these are the areas newly added. This has to do with the squall line that has moved across the international border from Minnesota. It was bringing all kinds of stormy, severe weather stateside before it crept into this side of the border or onto the side of the border. If you're under a tornado warning, you want to stay away from windows and glass doors. Number one, get to a basement if you have one. Cover yourself with a mattress or sleeping bag. And yes, check the forecast for the latest updates. I'm assuming everybody now has a weather app. You have weather at your fingertips. And if you have the Weather Network app, of course, it will let you know if you are under any of these warnings or under an alert of some sort. But look how far south these extend. So this is this is a tornado watch, rather, stateside right now, but all the warnings are on our side of the border, and they're going to be very difficult to see. Rain-wrapped storms likely. A squall line is it's like a cluster of storms. So all these thunderstorms coming together, and then it's linear, and then it's moving. So it's not anywhere you want to be near. I'm going to bring in our meteorologist, Melinda Singh, who's been watching this on radar, and it's been quite something to watch, really a dynamic storm.
Exactly, Kim. I'm going to indicate here on the radar, looking at those reds and oranges, and it is blowing out a bit, so that's meaning very dangerous and damaging winds moving through Atikokan and now Dryden, as they have been included in the tornado warning as well, and also with that heavy downpours associated with this, as well as the risk for a tornado. Large hail is also a factor, as well as indicated by Environment Canada. So this is the ongoing situation as well. If I zoom out a bit more, we're still looking at some of the squall line moving across southern Minnesota as well, but the majority of this has already moved in through sections of Northwestern Ontario, and we are starting to see a bit more of the heavier rainfall throughout Kenora and areas just east of Winnipeg, looking at some heavy rainfall associated with this squall line as well. But they are also included in through the severe possible criteria as well. But the squall line continues to make its way throughout the next few hours, and we will be here at the Weather Network keeping you with the latest updates.
Yeah, we talk about the tornado aspect of this, or the rotating storms, which of course is the most dangerous, but the rainfall, that's going to be problematic for a long time to come because there's already a flood situation. The wind, this is a heavily forested area, so that could potentially bring down trees. But where do you go in a tornado warning? What you don't do is park under an underpass. Here's Mark Robinson with more.
Today's Science Behind the Weather, we're going to talk about tornado safety. I'm actually in quite an unsafe spot for tornado safety. There's an infamous video where a news crew came up underneath a bridge just like this to try and stay safe from a tornado that was coming down the road. So they literally saw the tornado coming this way, just like we can see that rain coming at us. And the reason it's so dangerous under here is because we get compression of the winds through this narrow gap underneath the bridge. And what can happen is the wind speeds can increase so much so that you can get pulled right out from underneath this. And that's what happened in Moore, Oklahoma in 1999 when a tornado, somebody tried to get safe from the tornado through here. So this is a very dangerous spot to be. You don't want to be hiding from a tornado under here. For the Weather Network, meteorologist, stormcenter Mark Robinson.
Yeah, that's a bad place to be. Worst options, other than that, mobile home. You don't want to be in a mobile home. You want to get out. You want to be in a solid building, and you want to get to the bottom floor of that building. If it's a basement, that's the best thing possible. Otherwise, get into an interior room like a closet, a bathroom, somewhere where the windows are non-existent or very small, because windows can be very dangerous, obviously, if they shatter in a tornado situation. So yes, lots of things to think about if you're in a tornado warning. Again, you want to take shelter immediately. Areas like Singh River Village are in that warning. Dryden has just been added to the warning, Vermilion Bay as well. The watch means that there's potential for tornadoes to develop. A warning means that it is imminent or is happening and likely seen on radar or by an eyewitness. Stay with us as we cover these storms live. Hi there, I'm Kim MacDonald. You're watching the Weather Network. We are tracking some severe storms moving into Northwestern Ontario. Dryden and Vermilion Bay, the latest to be added to the tornado warning. Anywhere in pink is under a tornado warning. We've got a lot of colors on here, but that's the one you really need to pay attention to, especially if you're in that area. So places like Singh River Village are under the tornado warning, Quetico Park, Atikokan, Mine Center, Shabandawan, all under a tornado warning, meaning that rotation has been spotted on radar or there has been an eyewitness account. In this situation, we're talking about radar. That's why Environment and Climate Change Canada have issued tornado warnings for this area. It's a squall line, so a line of storms that has been traveling from south to north. We've been watching it moving in for hours now, Melinda, and now for some people, the worst is happening currently.
Yes, Kim, this just in from Environment Canada. The tornado warning has expanded for Ignis and English River. Is indicated right behind you there on the map as well. I'll continue looking through what they have issued. The storm is moving northeast at 85 kilometers per hour. Hazards tornado, wind gusts over 100 kilometers per hour, and nickel-sized hail as well. Here's a look at the satellite and the lightning. Just a big, broad aspect, seeing how deepening this low pressure system really is. Those yellows indicating copious amounts of lightning, over 1,000 plus lightning strikes currently going on with the system as it continues to move right along the international border. So some of the locations that are impacted include Atikokan, Steep Rock Lake, Finselin Lake, and Marmion Lake. Excuse me if I have pronounced those incorrectly, but those are the areas that are looking at the tornado threat as these tornado warnings have just come in from Environment Canada. So let's take a quicker look at the radar, more closer look here. So we are looking at those reds, oranges, yellows indicating heavy amounts of rainfall. These areas right here throughout Dryden and Atikokan looking at damaging winds, those winds gusting over 100 kilometers per hour in some areas, and even throughout Kenora and sections of Manitoba as well, dealing with some heavy rainfall as the squall line continues to move into the region, Kim. And we are going to continue to look at more dynamics unfold as the system moves northward across the border as well. Lots of available potential energy with the system that moves right in from along the international border. So these are helping to fuel the storms, and the conditions are very favorable as these storms continue to move through as well. I did mention the lightning. This is a model just showing how much lightning is usually associated with these squall lines. So this continues to move through as we start to lose daytime heating and sunlight. A lot of the tornado threat starts to diminish, but we are continuing to see these strong storms continue, and especially as these storms move through the region, especially throughout the overnight hours, darkness occurs, and we are looking at more heavier rainfall. So a lot of these tornadoes could be rain wrapped as well. So more dangerous conditions associated with this. So here's a quick look once again at the radar, including the tornado warnings as well. So those areas, once again, they include Ignis, English River, Singh River Village, Mine, Centre, Atikokan, Shibandawin, and Quetico Park. And those continue tracking at 85 kilometers per hour, moving northeast. Hazards, once again, there's a tornado, 100 kilometer per hour wind gusts, and nickel-sized hail. And the source of this is radar indicated on, rotation indicated on radar. So we are going to continue to track these storms here for you at the Weather Network, with more details coming up in the later hour.
Active weather coverage continues here on the Weather Network. I have some good news. A lot of the tornado warnings have now been dropped. We still have severe thunderstorm warnings in their place. We still have one tornado warning in place as well. Vermilion Bay, I believe, is still under the tornado warning. Anywhere in red is under a severe thunderstorm warning. So severe thunderstorms, yes, potentially dangerous. Obviously severe. We're talking about heavy rain, some very powerful winds with these storms as well. In the yellow, those are severe thunderstorm watches. So now we just have a small area under the tornado warning. Everywhere else, either under a severe thunderstorm warning or a severe thunderstorm watch. But it's been quite the night, Melinda, with these storms moving through northern Ontario.
Yep, it definitely has. I'm just going to correct you there. The tornado warning is for Ignis and English River. So that's going to continue. We're looking at the risk for a tornado as a tornado warning, as well as those wind gusts gusting upwards to 100 kilometers per hour with nickel-sized hail as well. And we are seeing rotation develop on radar, which is indicating. So the specific locations impacted include Atikokan, Steep Rock Lake, Finselin Lake, and Marmion Lake as well. So these are dangerous and potentially life-threatening situations. If you are in the area, please take cover as soon as possible. So we are continuing to monitor these storms here. Let's take a look at the radar really quickly. So this is a squall line that continues to move right across the international border, spreading in through northwestern Ontario and sections of southeastern Manitoba as well. Those reds indicate very heavy amounts of rainfall and strong and damaging winds, Kim.
Yeah, you know, a squall line is basically a cluster of thunderstorms that have all gotten together and they're all moving as one. And yes, they can be potentially very serious, very dangerous. This is what they look like on the radar, and that's exactly what we're talking about. So heavy rainfall, powerful winds with these. And yes, occasionally they can spawn tornadoes, which is why we've had tornado warnings as well on top of the rainfall warning. Ignis English River still in the tornado warning. Thank you for that, Melinda. And again, if you're in the tornado warning, you want to get away from windows. You want to be in the bottom level of your home, whether that's a basement or if you're just your first floor. But if you don't have a basement, get into an interior room like a closet or a bathroom, away from windows. That's number one. That's where it is safest, because it's often with a window shattering that can cause the most danger or injury. So again, an interior room, a closet or a hallway, under a sturdy piece of furniture, that's good as well. And don't be in something less sturdy. A mobile home, if you can help it. A car, if you can help it. I know, obviously, that's not where you are at the moment watching this. Under a highway or overpass is a dangerous place to be as well. So these are all really good reminders. If you are watching and you're not in one of these warnings right now, we are entering into severe weather season. We have our summer forecast on Tuesday, so tomorrow it will be released. And again, these kinds of watches and warnings will come up all summer long, and hopefully everybody can stay safe as a result of knowing more about what to expect.
Now, the science behind the weather and the story of hail. I'm Chris St. Clair. Hail comes from thunderstorms, and thunderstorms are formed out of very moist and unstable air masses that are heated by the sun. Within this storm, there'll be violent updrafts and downdrafts. These updrafts can reach speeds of 160 kilometers per hour, and it's in the updrafts and downdrafts that hail is formed. Here's where hail comes from. A tiny droplet of water gets caught in the updraft and rushes aloft. As it goes higher, it meets cooler air where it freezes and becomes a particle of ice. It's then caught in the downdraft where it goes back towards the surface, picking up more droplets of water. Then the updraft catches it and carries it aloft again. It grows in size, and the cycle continues until the hailstone is so large that it falls to the surface. And that's the science behind the weather.
This program is brought to you by Paul Davis Restoration, making a difference in people's lives after water, fire, or storm damage. It's what we do every day.
So many of our tornado warnings have come to an end. They have been downgraded to severe thunderstorm warning. So anything in red that you're looking at here. In pink, though, we still have a tornado warning for Ignis and English River. Those are the areas we're paying close attention to right now, although this entire area is seeing, in one way or another, some volatile weather. It's a squall line that has been moving northward from Minnesota into northern Ontario. We've been watching it happen. A lot of lightning on this storm, heavy rainfall, hail as well, and wind that could potentially be damaging. And we've seen video of that stateside as well, where winds have caused a lot of damage. This was while the storm was on its way into Otter Tail County. Just look at that shelf cloud, just a massive storm. And it's a cluster of storms. That's what a squall line is. It's a cluster of thunderstorms, and it's caused this kind of damage as well. Also in Minnesota, we can see that potentially straight line winds, may have been a tornado as well. The tornadoes are almost hidden in this line of storms, so they can develop out of them, and that's what we've been seeing. Difficult to see on radar, Melinda, but this is the reason why we have tornado warnings within the squall line.
Exactly, Kim. Like you mentioned, they are kind of hard to see because they are rain wrapped, and especially with those strong winds gusting upwards to 130 km/h at times, it is kind of hard to see, but it is indicated on radar, and that's why Environment Canada has issued those tornado warnings. So here's a look at the current radar going back an hour or so, seeing some of these storms continuing across Minnesota, in fact, and they are moving north across northwestern Ontario, and they are bringing in lots of lightning, heavy rainfall, those reds and oranges indicating very heavy rainfall as well, and the risk for some hail, plus the risk for a tornado as well.
And it looks like they have dropped the tornado watches, at least stateside at this point in time. They still have severe thunderstorm watches, but the severe thunderstorm warnings are on this side of the border. Here's what you should do if you are issued a tornado warning. Squall line, or a cluster of thunderstorms moving as one, have created some severe weather both stateside and on this side of the border as well. We have a tornado warning still in place, the area in pink, and that is for Ignis and English River. So those areas under the tornado warning. Farther south in the brownish color, that's a tornado watch. In red, severe thunderstorm warnings, and in yellow, severe thunderstorm watches. So on the bottom of the pyramid is the watch, and then we go up all the way to the tornado warning. And Melinda Singh is with us. What a line of storms. And it has, I've seen now video from the States, and it's pretty brutal. Some of these storms have actually spawned a few tornadoes.
Yeah, very dangerous conditions across Minnesota, unfortunately, and the squall line continues to move across northwestern Ontario. I am actually going to update you on severe thunderstorm warnings, new that have been issued by Environment Canada for Savin Lake, Sturgeon Lake, Sussex Outlook, and eastern Lac Sewell. And the hazards are 100 km/h wind gusts with P to dime-sized hail, and especially heavy rainfall as well, Kim. So here's a quick look at the radar, if I can get it to play there. There we go. So those reds and oranges indicating strong winds and heavy downpours. It continues to move as the squall line moves northeastward at 85 km/h. And Kim.
You know, it's been a tough growing season for farmers in the West. Here's Kyle Britton with the latest. Because we have a line of storms, a squall line that has moved in and is possibly producing tornadoes. So we do have a tornado warning in place. There is one left, and it continues to be for Ignis and English River. The area in pink is under the tornado warning. Now we still have a tornado watch, as well as severe thunderstorm warnings and severe thunderstorm watches as well. A lot of things are coming into play with this particular squall line. In addition to the possibility of rotation on these storms, which would be the tornado, we also have heavy amounts of rain. We have powerful winds. In fact, in Dryden not that long ago, we had a wind gust over 100 km/h, but we could see them as much as 130 and beyond, and large hail as well with these storms, Melinda. So there's likely a lot of damage with these storms rolling through, and you don't necessarily need a tornado to have that.
Exactly, Kim, and because it's so late at night and especially the darkness, you can't really see the tornado, and especially because you are seeing such heavy amounts of rainfall with this, the tornado is likely rain wrapped, so it is very hard to see it, but it is being shown on radar, so hence the tornado warnings issued and tornado watches as well by Environment Canada. So let's take a look at the radar. We are looking at this squall line continuing to move through. It has once slowly moving through Dryden, still moving through Atikokan as well, but the worst has moved out of those regions. It continues to move throughout northwestern Ontario, bringing in damaging rains and winds as well. I just have seen confirmation that it looks like the tornado warning has dropped as well for Ignis and English River. It has been replaced by a severe thunderstorm warning, which is good news. Still looking at extensive conditions as well, like as I mentioned, the rain, the winds, and the hail as well. but the tornado threat is out of the question for now, Kim.
Okay, some good news there. I'm glad to hear it. Yes, we certainly do have severe thunderstorm warnings, but no more tornado warnings at the moment. But there's a lot of lightning on this storm, obviously very dangerous as well. Here's Kelly Sonnenberg with more on the dangers of lightning.
Lightning. It's an atmospheric spectacle that is as dangerous as it is mesmerizing. Approximately 100 lightning bolts strike the Earth's surface every single second. They carry up to 1 billion volts of electricity, and one single strike can produce a temperature close to 30,000 degrees Celsius. So how exactly do these bolts of electricity form in the atmosphere? Thunderstorms develop on warm, humid summer days. Tiny ice and water particles within the thunderstorm rise and sink in updrafts and downdrafts, colliding with each other, creating a static electrical charge. Now, these tiny particles, the lighter ones, the positively charged particles, rise to the top of the storm cloud, while the heavier, negatively charged particles sink to the bottom. A buildup of positively charged particles become present on the Earth's surface. Now, we know opposites attract, so the negative charges at the base of the cloud look for a way to get to the positive charges at the Earth's surface. These travel through what is known as a step leader. When a connection is made, the lightning channel is complete and the charges can flow freely from the cloud to the ground. This is known as the return stroke and is the bright flash of light we see.
Okay, we do have the risk again for thunderstorms on Tuesday. They shift a little farther to the east, but some of the same areas still in there. We're expecting more scattered thunderstorms versus the squall line that we saw through the night on Monday. It's very hot across much of the province. Temperatures likely the hottest of the year so far, and that means when the front moves through, thunderstorms on Wednesday and then Thursday, everybody cools down again. So a stormy week for the province. Hi there, I'm Kim MacDonald. Severe weather taking its time to move out of northern Ontario, where we have a tornado watch in place. Of course, keep in mind that if you have a tornado warning, you want to get to the safest room in your house, typically a basement. If you don't have that, you're going to want to get into a closet or a bathroom. Anywhere away from a window would be the best place to be. So tornado watch means heads up, there's potential. A tornado warning means you need to get to safety immediately. Melinda, you've been covering a night of storms, lots of lightning and wind on these storms, and not quite over yet.
Nope, they're still going to continue well into the overnight. Here's a quick look at those areas forecasted to still see those thunderstorms, especially in red and in orange as well, as the squall line continues to move through the region. So there's a look at that squall line from this model, but we will still see rainfall continuing across Manitoba and northern sections of Ontario into our Tuesday. 40 to 60 millimeters of rainfall is expected across Winnipeg and through Red Lake and Sandy Lake through Wednesday. But this low pressure continues to move northward, and we are going to be looking at gusts 60 to 80 kilometers per hour across Manitoba and northwestern Ontario as well. The more severe risk moves in through sections of northern Ontario for us Tuesday, more scattered in nature thunderstorms, and these are going to initiate along this cold front that continues to move right through the region as we are looking at these storms initiating with lots of energy because temperatures are into the 30s across Ontario, Kim.
Yeah, it's going to be a hot one, that's for sure. And when you get to that kind of hot weather, thunderstorms are obviously quick to follow. Thanks, Melinda, for that analysis. So this is a look at what we're talking about. Next day will be quite pleasant. Wednesday is when we're going to see widespread thunderstorms across southern and eastern Ontario, and then cooler, fresher air in behind it. So here we go. These are daytime highs for Tuesday, likely the hottest day of the year for much of southern Ontario. We've got a 33-degree high in Windsor. Then the thunderstorms come through, and you can see northern Ontario really cools down by Wednesday. Southern Ontario dealing with those scattered storms, and then temperatures dropping down to the teens and low 20s. In Atlantic Canada, you've been dealing with some unsettled weather. Nova Scotia, Western New Brunswick and Newfoundland, you're getting the worst of it. Cooler than average conditions across the province and certainly across the Maritimes as well, but a little more sunshine the farther east you are. So Halifax, not so bad. Moncton, sunshine, but temperatures in the teens. St. John's, boy, single-digit highs for the foreseeable future. Labrador, even colder with snow on the way. And speaking of which, snow for northern Manitoba. Look at this. That's a little on the chilly side for the beginning of June. Okay, we've been talking about severe weather. This is good to know anytime. Tornado warnings, where should you be in the case of a tornado?
So where is the safest place to go if a tornado happens? Well, you want to be below ground, so either a storm shelter, or if you don't have a storm shelter, go to your basement. The reason why, not a lot of windows, you've got concrete around you, and even if the whole home is wiped off its foundation, you're still safe. If you don't have a basement, go to the most center part of your home, typically a bathroom, away from windows. And the reason why a bathroom is a good idea is because it usually has strong framing in that part of the home, the center part of the home, plus the pipes in the walls can actually hold that framing together. So you actually want to get inside your bathtub if you can, or a closet, anywhere in the center part of the home away from those windows.